Well, the Halos offense certainly came to life last night. A season-high 12 hits. They picked up the victory by the final of 6-3. And today it is game 2 of a 3-game set from Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Highlighting from inside Globe Life Park, we welcome you back to Angels Baseball on Fox Sports West, along with Mark Gubiza. I'm Victor Rojas. And last night we mentioned the offense certainly came to life against Ross Detweiler. And today we get a little excitement in the fact that Drew Rosinski, who made his Major League debut here as a reliever last season, makes his first Major League start.
Yeah, but this is going to be a lot of fun to see him go out there and attack the strike zone. He threw the ball exceptionally well in spring training, carried into his relief appearance the other day. Rosinski's a guy that has very good stuff. He's got a very good swing and miss, split finger fastball. His slider's good. He's even got a changeup, but they're all set up with his good fastball. He's able to paint both sides of the plate. He was absolutely dominant in spring training, making his first Major League start here today. Of course, he's had to take for a long time to get there. 4 years at Ohio State. Started off kind of slow there, but ended up finishing strong. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. Independent ball he pitched, and also worked in a sporting goods store before getting an opportunity here tonight in the big leagues to go out there and attack some big league hitters. It is going to be a lot of fun to see.
Not too bad, huh? 17 months ago, selling ping pong tables at a sporting goods store. Now you find yourself in a big league uniform pitching against the Texas Rangers. He'll be opposed by right-hander Nick Martinez as we're just about ready for baseball here in Arlington. Sit back and relax. Going to bring you the lineups in the first pitch when we return. Cherokee with an EPA estimate 31 highway miles per gallon. Visit Jeep.com for more information. And by AT Uverse, more live TV channels on the go than cable. You're back here to Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Game 2 of the 3-game set. Overcast skies, but no threat of rain here tonight. And the temperature is dipping down currently. It is 58 degrees here.
Are we in Texas?
Yeah, we are in Texas, and it is April. That tends to happen on occasion. Tomorrow is supposed to jump up into the mid-70s and be a sunny afternoon here for day baseball in Texas. But overall, no wind, so the jet stream should not be in effect. We'll see how things play out today. A couple of righties on the mound. We just talked about Rucinski. Nick Martinez on the mound for the Texas Rangers. And it's a Rangers ball club that decimated by injuries. We touched on it a little bit last night. As a matter of fact, we found out this morning that the Rangers have another Tommy John surgery. Luis Alberto Bonilla, whom the Angels saw last year, fireballing right-hander, is going to have Tommy John surgery. And they have 7 players already on the 60-day disabled list. So
that
they're
is
decimated once again.
Yeah, you thought last year that you'd be over with it the following season, but again, it's hitting them once again. And key part, especially of the rotation.
Yeah, no question about it. Let's take a look at Mike Scioscia's starting 9 for the Halos here with a 3-4 record after their victory last night. Eric Aybar will lead things off, and he will play shortstop. Cole Calhoun still dealing with that sore calf. He's able to pinch hit if needed tonight. Mike Trout batting second and center. Albert Pujols at first. Matt Joyce, the cleanup hitter, in left. David Freese at third. C.J. Cron recorded his first 2 hits of the season last night. He's the DH. Chris Iannetta behind the plate. Colin Cowgill right. And Johnny Giavatello also chipped in with 2 hits last night. He's back at second base batting 9th. They're taking on the 24-year-old right-hander native of Miami, Florida by the name of Nick Martinez.
Yeah, Nick Martinez threw the ball very well out. Last time on the road, 7 innings and no earned runs against the Oakland A's. Last year, 5-12 ERA for 4.5. Fastballs, 88-93. Slider curve change, but to be successful against Martinez, don't miss that high fastball. He tries to go upstairs, but he brings it down a little bit. That's the one you square up and avoid helping him out, because he can get wild at times and walk some batters. Square it up when he's forced in the middle of the zone.
Defensively for Texas, behind Martinez, it's Pinheiro, Martin, and Chu in the outfield from left to right. Beltre, Andrews, Odor, and Fielder from third to first, and Chirinos behind the plate.
And Martin in center field, very aggressive center field. He's very good throwing him. 27 outfield assists since the start of 2013. Had 11 last year, but he also had 8 errors. So he does get aggressive at times, overthrows his cutoff man and overthrows some bases. So as good as his arm is, you still could take a chance that he might not hit his spot.
Rangers already with 8 errors on the season. This is game number 9 for them. They have yet to have an off day. They are starting the season with 10 straight before their first off day that's coming up on Thursday. First one tonight in there for a strike. Eric Aybar in the hole at 0-1. Comes in batting 208. No home runs, 1 RBI. Eric yesterday had 1 hit, ended up going 1 for 4. It was a double as this one's fouled back. Foul back. There's that high fastball you were talking about.
Yeah, you just got to bring that down just a bit, and it becomes a very hittable fastball. It's a fine line between getting that fastball and a pop-up. When you go upstairs and bring it down enough, that's the one that leaves the building.
Breaking ball, and Aybar hooks one into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. Eric will round first. He's going to chest Chu's arm. The throw is in time, according to C.B. Buckner. And we'll see if they take a look at it. But Chu is, as we've always talked about, very good arm. And no argument for Mike Scioscia, at least as of yet.
And he's looking down in. He got around very well that baseball to get himself in a good throwing position. A perfect strike. Looked like the tag was applied before he got his hand in. Better angle here. Real close. Mike Scioscia's thinking about it. Decides not to. Well hit baseball, but Chu hasn't really got himself into good throwing position like we saw in the past, especially when the Cleveland Indians playing right field.
They're trying to force the issue. It does not work for Eric Aybar. Trout lines one out to left center field. That'll split the outfielders. He'll easily get to second base. Our team gets the baseball back in, and potentially costing the Angels a run. Aybar getting thrown out at second, but Trout picks up his second double of the season.
We got that fastball middle part of the plate. My Hyundai Key for the game here. Our little rival sons. keep on swinging. Certainly early on, the Angels are swinging the bat. We saw the bats get hot yesterday. Already today, a single. Tried to stretch into a double thrown out, and then Mike Trout with a double. His second of the season. That ball was crushed to left center field.
Mentioned in the open season high 12 hits for the Angels last night against a depleted bullpen. There's Albert. Man in scoring position. Then Pujols will take a breaking ball down and away. Pujols a 154 batting average so far. A couple of home runs, 3 runs batted in. 4 for 26 on the season. 0 for 4 game yesterday. Did draw a walk in the 9th inning. Check swing. They wanted an appeal. Did not go. Dan Iassogna over at first base. Crew chief Dale Scott not here today. So it's Lance Barrett behind the place. Iassogna at first, CB Buckner at second, and Toby Basner at third base tonight. Iassogna will act as the crew chief for tonight's ball game. 2 balls, no strikes. And now time is called. Halo so far, at least to start the season, just a 194 batting average with men in scoring position. 6 for 31.
Albert in a real good fastball count here. 2-0. Got to go green light here for Albert.
Still looking for that first hit with a man in scoring position. Albert is 0 for 4 so far this year. Single by Ibar, thrown out at second, trying to stretch it into a double. And Trout follow with a double to left center. Albert lays off, and it's ball 4.
That's respect. 3-0 curveball.
Now you mentioned Nick Martinez in his start against the Oakland Athletics. A very, very good one. 7 innings, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. But last year in his rookie campaign here, he struggled in this ballpark. He was just 1-7 at home with a 5.24 earned run average.
Yeah, I was talking to Don Baylor about that, and he was aware of that too. For whatever reason, sometimes you're not comfortable, whether it's the mound or if you elevate fastballs. Like he gave up a lot of home runs last year, 18 of them. So that's what happened to him. Elevated fastball in this yard, bad things can happen.
Joyce looks at a strike, and he did pitch pretty well against the Angels last year. Pitched in 4 games, made 3 starts. Was 0-2, but had an ERA very respectable at 3.32. Oh, 1 pitch. Joyce lays off the changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike. Man off to a slow start, 4 for 23.
Sorry, Victor. Don Baylor said about Nick Martinez, a lot like Colby Lewis as far as his fastball. When it's up, it becomes hittable. Big break ball, changeup. But it will make some mistakes over the middle of the plate.
Behind him, the count at 2-1. Trout at second, Pujols at first. Joyce with a double last night, his second of the season, as he fouls this one back.
Pretty good pitch by Martinez, a 2-1 changeup. That Joyce looking fastball. So far now we've seen early in the game here for Martinez kind of shying away from attacking the hitters with his fastball in fastball counts. Curveball twice to Pujols, and now a changeup to Matt Joyce in a fastball count.
Andrews trying to keep Trout close to the bag at second. Freeze on deck, 2-2. Joyce lines went to short, and everyone was back. It looks like they're going to call him out. Andrews dropping the ball on purpose. 2 down.
Now let's check out the AT Universe rewind from last night. David Freese fastball up and out over the plate. Drives that ball to right center field for a 2-run home run. His 3rd home run and 5th now RBI of the season.
So 2 outs, 2 on, and Freese at the plate. 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. A .222 batting average. First one's in for a strike. Martinez, a 18th round pick, 2011 at Fordham University after growing up in Miami. It's 29 big league games last year, making 24 starts. Outfield straight around with Freese at the plate. Sure, maybe a couple of steps to his right toward the alley at right center. 1-2. These are the situations that we've talked about in spring training, that aside from Trout and Pujols, it's the guys behind them that are going to have to pick up some of the slack. As Freese gets jammed, his little one hopper to fielder, a lot of spin. He'll wave off Martinez. The Angels waste a golden opportunity. We'll head to the bottom of the first, scoreless. We'll take a look at Jeff Bannister's starting lineup for the Texas Rangers, who are 3-5 to start the year. Bannister mixing up the lineup a little bit. Rougned Odor leading things off at second. Mitch Moreland, the DH, will bat second. Adrian Beltre, then Prince Fielder, Shin-Soo Choo. That is 3, 4, and 5. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. Carlos Peguero on left. Leonis Martin in center. Robinson Chirinos batting ninth and doing the catching as they take on the 26-year-old right-hander native of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. His name is Drew Rucinski.
His 5th career game and his debut here in July against the Texas Rangers. Very good fastball, 90-94 slider, change, and very good split finger fastball for Rucinski. And the keys, though, for Drew here tonight is really to slow the game down. Just relax out there on the mound and use your fastball as a setup pitch. He has a great swing and miss split finger fastball.
Odor with a home run and 3 RBIs, a couple of doubles. Rucinski's second pitch out of the strike zone. It's 2-0. Just a 160 batting average for Rougned Odor. Freese playing even with the bag at third. 2-1. Fantastic spring training for Rucinski. Earning a spot on this ball club. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he had an opportunity to start a game against the Colorado Rockies when C.J. Wilson hurt his leg. Boy, he was amazing. He was up there exactly around 90-94 each and every pitch. Great split finger fastball. You see him there putting that split finger fastball grip early. Then it will bring the fingers together when he's going to throw a fastball.
You can just see it in that picture right there from center field. 2-2. Reaching for that one, taps it foul.
And the reason why you do that That way you're not tipping your pitch. Sometimes when guys have split finger fastball, they start it late. So you can see the grip. Now, if he's going to a fastball, he'll just close his fingers. But he's already has that split finger grip going, and that was a good one.
Full count. Did not miss by much. It's Moreland on deck. Texas scoring 3 times in the first inning yesterday against Matt Shoemaker before Matt settled down to go 6 1/3 and picked up his second win of the season. That fastball fouled back. There's Shoe.
A lot of times, especially when you're making your first start at the major league level, you're amped up a little bit and you'll see more high fastballs. So far, a lot of high fastballs from Rucinski.
Another payoff. Odor takes inside. That is a leadoff walk. Defensively for the Angels tonight, Matt Joyce in left, Mike Trout in center, Colin Cowgill in right field. The infield has David Freese, Eric Ibar, Johnny Giavitello, and Albert Pujols from third to first with Chris Iannetta behind the plate.
Chris Iannetta, the veteran behind the plate. 7 started in the first 8 games. He's averaged 88 starts over the last 3 years. Important as a veteran just to keep Rucinski under control early on, and then he'll settle down. See that first batter overthrowing some pitches. That's why it's good to have that veteran behind the plate to settle him.
Moreland will look at a strike. The DH batting in the 2 spot. 217 average with a home run and 4 RBIs. Moreland got the start at first base last night. Ended up going 1 for 4 with an RBI double.
Texas hasn't run a lot so far this year, but they're struggling to score runs. You would think they're going to be more aggressive here tonight.
Drew last year made 26 starts at Double-A, went 10 and 6. They're getting a cup of coffee with the big club. Garrett Richards on the mend. He's pitching tonight, by the way, for Salt Lake in Fresno. Corey Rasmus going down and having to have abdominal surgery. Opened the door for some guys. A little competition in spring training, and Rucinski certainly took it and ran with it. Breaking ball in the dirt. It's a ball. Odor. An uncontested stolen base. Picked the right pitch to go on.
Always been a big believer in going on an 0-2 pitch, too. If you're a base runner, you got to assume a pitcher is going to throw something off speed. He's going to expand his zone, potentially bounce a break ball or split finger fastball in the dirt. Difficult for a catcher to catch and throw on a pitch like that.
Here's the 1-2. Moreland does it behind the plate. Iannetta on the warning track runs out of room. So reset and do it again in 1 ball, 2 strikes. Don't know the story of Drew Rucinski. It's very similar to that of Matt Shoemaker. While Shoemaker kind of had a deal through the minor leagues for 8 years before getting his opportunity. Rucinski, undrafted just like Shoemaker, pitched at Ohio State from 08 through 2011. Ended up signing with Cleveland, the minor leagues. Rookie ball and low A. This one's hit up the middle. It's a base hit. Odor will come in to score, and Texas strikes. It is 1-0 Rangers.
And another fastball that was
5th RBI.
Was up. And you're having a guy making his first major league start, overthrowing, fastball up, out over the plate. Tried to run that 2-seamer in, but got too much to the plate. Moreland, 5th RBI, base hit up the middle.
He'll face Beltre here with nobody out and a man at first. He's persevered. Let go by Cleveland. Independent leagues, a frontier league for a couple of years before the Angels signed him in August of 2013. He's had success in the Angels organization. Beltre looks at a strike. Counting it up in a ball and a strike. Beltre hitting 194 with a home run, 1 RBI, a couple of doubles, has 1 triple. Last night 1 for 4. Texas scored 3 times in the first inning yesterday. And we're held scoreless the rest of the way. They strike in the first again tonight. 2-1.
Good conversation right there.
Sorry, Mark.
For Chris to be able to talk to Drew Ruzinski, just to calm him down. Just make a quality pitch, try to keep it down in the strike zone, see if you can get Beltre to hit one at a middle infielder.
3 balls and 1 strike. And I'd imagine that the thoughts tend to creep into your mind of a leadoff walk, and all of a sudden it's 1-0. You still don't have any outs in the first. You don't want it to blow up on you. This is hit to short. Should be 2. Gio Vitello, quick turn. It's a double play.
That's
2 outs.
Huge for him.
But my point being is that all of a sudden you as opposed to focusing it, the task at hand, right? Your mind starts to wander. Don't let this blow up, which is exactly what you don't want to happen as far as the mindset.
Doubt in your mind.
Right.
Exactly right, Victor. And all of a sudden you're thinking what could happen wrong instead of what can go right. And exactly what happened, what you want there is to keep that ball down and get a ground ball double play. Now you can breathe a little bit, especially with fielder coming up with no one on. That's why I thought that conversation with Iannetta going out to him, just to relax him. Even though he missed the next pitch, he was still under control, down just below the knees instead of upstairs.
Can't leave it up on Fielder. Back at first base tonight after DH yesterday. 394 average, a couple of doubles. Everything else singles, has 4 RBIs. 1-0 Texas here in the first. I wanted to peel and it did not go. 2 balls, 1 strike.
And that's a straight changeup from Ruzinski.
.21 pitches thrown by Drew. This one lifted in the air. Foul territory. David Freese there near the wall. The inning comes to an end, but not before Texas strikes for a run. We'll head to the second with the Angels down 1-0.
And Drew Ruzinski talking to Mike Butcher, how he was talking about his wrist being a little bit down, dropping his elbow, flying open. You can almost read his lips saying, I was flying open on some fastballs. They're the ones that were upstairs. Made a good adjustment getting that ground ball double play from Adrian Beltre. Then a pop-up to Prince Fielder. Now you can relax and smile.
Because you got out of it?
Yes. Because there's a lot of negative thoughts go in your mind. Leadoff walk, stolen base, base hit, down one, and you're a 3-1 count to Beltre.
One ball, 2 strikes on C.J. Cron. DH. 2 hits yesterday. 2 for 17 to start the year. Pitch way in off the plate.
And when C.J. Cron is swinging well, he's not swinging at that pitch. We saw that in spring training. He laid off a lot of tough pitchers' pitches. Took them. Now he's hacking at them. A couple hits yesterday.
This one yanked foul. Hopefully they're all right. All right, net on deck. Calgill to follow. 1 down. Hey folks, the Angels will host the Athletics next Tuesday at 7:05, and fans in attendance will receive a beanie courtesy of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park while supplies last. Purchase tickets today. The Angels ticket officer online at angels.com. Could use that beanie tonight.
I know. Boy, both pitchers don't waste any time. Don't move around, walk around the mound at all.
First sign that it takes upstairs. Tough go for Chris to start the year. 1 for 21. Breaking ball in for a strike. Evens up the count at 1-1.
We've seen so many pitches away, whether it's a breaking ball or a fastball away.
There's the on speed. Martinez got Cron on an 83-mile-per-hour slider. Kind of a cement mixer slider that was a little bit up. So tantalizing, especially with 2 strikes. Three and 1.
Again, he will walk some batters. 55 walks, 77 strikeouts last year. And when you're struggling at the plate, those borderline pitches that are off the plate are being called against you. That fastball clearly off the inside corner, but called a strike.
And Chris picked up his first walk of the season last night. 3-2, got a piece of it off of Chirinos. So reset it, do it again.
It looked like right underneath the mask. Found straight back. That bottom part of the mask, throat area.
Chirinos one half of the catch in tandem for Jeff Bannister. Carlos Corpon, former Astro, also on this ball club. 3-2, and he draws a walk. So it's a 1 out, base on balls. The Angels have a man on for Colin Cowgill. 3 for 13 on the season. Last night had a big home run, his first of the year in the 5th inning. This one tied the score at 3 off Ross Detwiler.
And finally got one of those fastballs. He was trying to work the sinker, did not elevate it. Some good swings earlier in the game. Finally, Cowgill made him pay for that sinker that did not sink.
And the start once again in right field for Cole Calhoun. Cole said he's been dealing with this sore calf for about a week now. So that would put it back maybe to the Freeway Series. First couple of games against Seattle. Able to pinch hit as he did last night. Delivered on a 3-0 pitch. The hit to right. Calgill fouls it back.
You see him talking to himself, still chase that high fastball. Yeah, Mike Scioscia said today that he would be available to pinch hit, but he's hoping to get him ready maybe by Friday. Good numbers against his career against Martinez, also including a big home run.
This one pulled down the line. That's a fair ball headed to the corner. Iannetta heading toward third base. Peguero plays the ball cleanly. Iannetta will be stopped at third. It's a double for Colin Calgill, his first of the year.
Good numbers here in Texas for Calgill. Some big hits last season. Last night, that big home run, and here an all-speed pitch, stayed on it, drove it right down the left field line. First double of the season. Peguero played that pretty nice. He's keeping it in front to make sure that Iannetta wasn't going to be able to come all the way around from first to tie the game up.
Infield back. They'll give up the run for the out as Johnny Giavotella steps to the plate. A couple of hits yesterday. He's off to a nice start. 6 for 20. That's a 300 batting average. Fielder in at first base now. Beltran at third. That'll get him. It sure did. A hit by pitch will load the bases.
You always see that, especially with a man on third. First pitch, fastball in to try to jam a hitter, but this one ran in and got Giavotella on the shoulder.
And here in the second, Mike Maddox already coming out to pay a visit.
Looking to get something to drive right in that bicep, tricep area.
One of a number of visits Maddox will make throughout the night and throughout the series. Eric Ibar singled to right field to lead off the ball game. Was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. Step in with the bases loaded and 1 out. Halos down 1-0 in the second. Iannetta standing at third base. Colin Calgill at second, and Johnny Giavotella at first base. Good speed in the trail runners. Ibar takes a strike on the corner. Now it looked like it was off the plate. And Ibar doesn't like the call from Lance Barrett.
When that first pitch as a hitter with the base loaded, so important. That pitch was off the plate, but would call the strike. Now the pitcher at the advantage now.
Ibar chops from the second. Odor to Andrews to first. And the Angels again waste another opportunity with a man in scoring position. One to the bottom of the second. Halo still down 1-0.
after indie ball, I worked. My buddy's got a pecan farm down south of Tulsa. Helped out there in the off season. The next year, I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods in the team sports department. Everything from selling like fitness equipment, baseball gloves, all football stuff, whatever people come in for. So it's been a fun ride. Hopefully I can stay up here a little longer and won't be working at Dick's Sporting Goods this offseason, but who knows? It's fun. I enjoyed it. So.
Well, they threw a big double play ball to get or help him get out of that first inning, limiting the damage to 1 run. As you start to second, Shin-Soo Choo chopping this one towards second, and Giovanella has it. It's the first down of the second inning.
Well, like we said in our opening, how great of a story it is for Drew Rucinski to be given this opportunity. How hard he's had to work just to get to this point and to make a start in the major leagues. Great story.
1 out, nobody on, and it's Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, coming up. Well, the Angels just going back to the top of the inning. Another situation in which they're unable to capitalize. It's the second time that they've had the bases loaded this year. The first was last night. And Martinez gets a big double play off the bat of Eric Ibar. Elvis Andrus, 147 batting average with 3 runs batted in. As the count evened up on him at 1-1. Two balls and 1 strike. Rangers hoping that Elvis Andrus is able to produce a little bit more so than he has in the last several seasons. His extension kicks in this year. Goes through 2022. 3 balls, 1 strike. An investing option for 2023.
It's a long time. Yeah. Still firmly believed to be successful against Andrus. Just throw fastballs away. Force him to hit the ball to right field. Cal Gill playing shallow.
Full count.
He likes to serve the ball that way. He's got some power when you try to sneak a fastball inside.
There's the payoff. Andrus chopping this one to the left side. Freeze certainly can't get to it. Ibar has it, but it's an infield base hit.
Well, this infield's a little different now with the different grass again. It's quick again, like it used to be. They're trying to grow that thicker grass in the infield to give pitchers a chance on a ground ball. That got through there quickly. Not a bad pitch. Quickly through the infield. Good range by Ibar, but you're not going to throw it. Andrus, who's certainly a stolen base threat now at first base.
One out, 1 on, and it's Carlos Peguero, the left fielder, at the plate. 4th game for Peguero with the Texas Rangers. A minor league deal with Texas in the offseason. Good spring. There's a couple of doubles and an RBI.
Good action count for Texas for here. 1-0.
Two balls and no strikes. Elvis Andrus last year, 27 stolen bases, was also caught 15 times. Career high 42 stolen bases in 2013. Two and 1. Now that outside corner to left-handed batter certainly getting called by Lance Barrett. At least through the early going. Good lead for Andrus.
Step off the pitching rubber. It's a sign where you just hold the baseball. Still the best way to stop a running game if you're a pitcher at any level. Hold the baseball.
Well, he was leaning there. And the first base coach, Hector Ortiz, talking with Dan Iasonia. And he's saying that Wyszynski's got a little bit of a balk move. Immediately walked towards Iasonia, pointing toward the mound. Three balls, one strike. 34 pitches thrown by Drew, 18 strikes, 16 balls. Command still not quite there.
Count guessing fastball that Andrews could be going.
Takes off and Peguero fouls it back.
Wyszynski looking for a potential strike him out, throw him out here.
Andrews again takes off. This one's out to center. Got in on the hands. Trout will make the catch. Elvis will head back to first. 2 down. Two outs and a man on, and Leonis Martin at the plate. Cuban center fielder, batting .139 with a couple of runs batted in. 5 for 36. Yesterday he was in the leadoff spot. Ended up going 1 for 4. No balls and a strike.
Boy, if I'm a pitcher tonight, I'm living on that part of the plate.
Yeah. That last pitch was just off the plate, but still called a strike.
As a hitter, you have no chance to make good contact against that pitch. And if the umpire's calling it a strike, just live out there. I'm going to try to throw over the first base.
That's not the old hook 'em horns sign, right?
And so often you see the one that used to be, that was always a sign for a pitch out.
Yeah.
It used to be just the thumb flicking over there. I'm going to try to sneak a fastball in.
Snap throw to second or first, pardon me. Andrews gets the foot back in.
Back pick on a fastball inside. See that a lot from the Angels over the year, no matter who the catcher is. Fastball in against the lefty, back pick to first base.
Foul back. Andrews takes off, pitch out. It's a bad pitch out, low throw, and safe at second.
Yeah, when you know a pitch out is on, try to keep the same exact delivery and throw the ball right at the shoulder. This high throw forcing Ida to leap up and then try to get back in the throwing position, allowing Andrews to get to second base. Like he kept his finger on the base all the way through the tag. High throw and away from the throwing arm. Ideally, the throw right at the throwing shoulder so your catcher could be quicker on his release.
Two balls, two strikes on Martin. Breaking ball in the dirt gets away from Chris and the wild pitch. Nobody's covering home. Wyszynski is halfway between the mound and the plate. So man at third base now, an overthrown breaking ball.
looking at this pitch out, you want to be right by the throwing shoulder. It's thrown to the glove side and high, forcing the longer throw by Iannetta. They would have had him on a good pitch out, and overthrown the next split finger fastball in the dirt, and gets away from Iannetta.
Breaking ball, and that is ball 4. Second walk issued by Rucinski. So 2 on now. 2 outs.
That part of the plate, Lance Barrett is not calling. And this catches the inside corner. Outside part of the plate, he is calling. And of course, you're going to go out and talk to Drew right now. This is to settle him down. Knew he made a mistake on the pitch out, let him affect the next couple of pitches.
And you worry about the pitch count as well. 42 pitches. We're just in second.
And facing a guy that's had some success against him. Chirinos 2 for 3. That's Rucinski. 20 pitches thrown in this inning, 10 and 10. 10 out of the zone, 10 in the zone.
Robinson Chirinos, the catcher at the plate, with runners at the corners. Texas with a first inning run. Throw down to second base on a stolen base attempt. And Martin picks up a stolen base. Third one, pardon me, for Texas.
Big jump. That base is stolen on Rucinski. Not much of a chance for Chris Iannetta on that one.
Texas had come into the ballgame with 2 stolen bases as a team. They had 3 already tonight. 0-1 outside. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Chirinos 1 for 13 to start the year. That's on the corner. 1-2. Elvis Sanders standing at third base. Leonis Martin at second. Fouled off late on the fastball. Halos in the third have 2, 3, and 4 due up against Nick Martinez. Trout, Pujols, and Joyce. Martinez has given the Angels a couple of opportunities to get in this game and score some runs, but just not been able to capitalize. 4 base runners stranded through the first 2 innings. Here's the 1-2. Upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Still overthrown, muscling up on his fastball. He throws his glove towards the hitter. It's very important to keep the front shoulder in long enough to be able to deliver that fastball and work downstairs with it.
Rougned Odor, the second baseman's on deck. Another full count here.
So Drew throws that glove at the hitter, and that front shoulder so important to keep tucked in to be able to deliver the pitch. If he's throwing it too quick, front shoulder opens up. Very difficult to keep your elbow up to deliver a pitch where you want to.
Payoff. Martinez is extremely tardy on that fastball. Rifled into the seats. Fortunately, hit no one. Next pitch will be the 50th of the ball game for Drew Rucinski, making his first major league start tonight. Andrews A 1-out infield base hit, stole second, went to third on a wild pitch, and Martini drew a walk and then stole second. Time called yet again. Torino skies went out to left center field. Hit well. Trout giving chase. Looks like he's got a beat on it, and he and Joyce collide. Matt Joyce again gets in the way. 2 runs come in to score, and it's 3-0. Memo to Matt Joyce. Anything out toward left center field, just clear the premises.
Yeah, just get out of the center fielder's baseball anyhow. Trout covers a lot of ground. He's calling for it. But Matt Joyce in that vicinity. Drew Rucinski needed that play made. Unfortunately, it was not made.
They're calling that a hit. A double for Chirinos, which should have been the 3rd out of the inning. You have a sense as an outfielder when there's another body near you, because you hear it. You just sense it. And that's what Mike's trying to avoid, is a collision. You can clearly see that he's calling for it. At that point, as a corner outfielder, whether it's Calhoun or Cowgill or Joyce in this instance here, you just gotta peel off. You gotta either stop or peel off and get out of the way.
Yeah, the center fielder is the quarterback of the outfield defense. Anything hit towards the center fielder at all, that's his baseball. Trying to take control, calling for it, but close by Matt Joyce. At that point, just get out of the way. You're there for backup just in case it goes off the wall like that.
Now in the world is that called a double? I hate to give Mike an error on that, but
what's the play he knows he's going to make normally if Matt Joyce isn't that close to him.
3-0 Texas.
And Matt Joyce, we've seen over the years, most of his games out in right field. Frustrated himself. You can see that by his reaction. Getting acclimated to the left field position.
One. This one's out toward left center field. Trout got a decent jump, dives, and he can't get it. Goes in and out of the glove. It is 4-0 Texas. A single for Odor. Picks up his 4th run batted in. I said single. Well, it goes a double, pardon me.
Trout trying to make an outstanding play. Full dive. Just under his glove. Force had his throwing hand out to knock it down. Otherwise, that's at least a triple.
So the inning continues here in the 2nd, and Mitch Moreland at the plate. He singled home a run in the 1st. One ball, one strike.
Fastball running off the plate, not and getting the call. That's where you want to live. He's calling it.
Odor over at second base. Good lead for him. Ibar trying to keep him close. Moreland cuts through this one at 22. Off speed pitch.
At the day, one plate appearance you'd like to have back really is the 2-out walk to Leonis Martin. Stole second, put runners at second and third before Chirinos hit that ball to left center. In the dirt, blocked by Ineta, but Odor will still advance. That ball got away from him.
Couple wild pitches in this game for Drew Rucinski. Overthrown on that split finger fastball.
Another full count for Drew, and that pitch count continues to go up. And get somebody up.
See Jose Alvarez getting up.
There's the 3-2. And there's ball 4. So third walk of the ball game for Rucinski. Already a visit to the mound by the coaching staff. So Ibar 9, Netta will pay a visit here. Now you got to deal with Adrian Beltre with a couple of men off.
Yeah, 59 pitches thrown, just 3 more strikes than pitches out of the strike zone so far in this game for Drew.
Jose Alvarez, first man up, the left-hander. Odor at third, Moreland at first. Beltre grounded into a double play in the first inning, so he's 0 for 1.
Tough batter here for Rucinski. You just want to get through this inning. The offense has had their chances against Nick Martinez, a number of chances already, so you feel the offense is going to get the job done. He's got to keep it close.
Good off speed. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Beltre is all about swinging his way on. Not to waste a whole lot of time. Yet drawn a walk this year. He's looking to swing the bat. 0-2. A chopper toward third. David Freese has it. And this inning mercifully comes to an end, but out for 4. Texas tacks on 3. We've played 2 here in Arlington. Halos down 4-0.
batting average, Willie Mays. Mickey Mantle, very similar numbers. Trout, a little bit better in a number of them. Impressive company for Trout, Willie Mays, and Mickey Mantle.
Well, the Halos were down 3-0 last night before coming back to win 6-3, down 4-0 here in the third inning. Trout a double to the alley in left center field, his first time up.
And Mike was asked last night about his 500th game, and he was surprised how quickly it got there. And everyone's mentioned the names being compared with, and said it was an honor.
Behind in the count at a ball and 2 strikes. A double Trout hit in the first, his second of the season. This one fouled back. Cool night here in Texas, 58 degrees. Very little wind. Two balls, 2 strikes. Pujols on deck. Matt Joyce after him. 3 hits for the Angels. 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Full count. Martinez at 44 pitches, 26 have been strikes. 2 walks, 1 strikeout for him. Jammed him. This one's flared in the air on the right side of the infield. Odor puts it away for the first out. It'll bring up Pujols.
Yeah, he ran that fastball in. Looked like it might have been a ball, but that's the part of the plate where Sparrow's caught a lot of pitches and strike.
Pitches up too a little bit. Watch out, up and in. Seen that a couple of times already.
It hasn't worked out well for the pitcher that tries this. Up and in. Last couple of times pitchers have gone up and in the very next pitch. Pujols is crushed out of the ballpark.
And that is down the line. It is just foul. Almost deja vu all over again.
What did we say about the memo about not throwing up and in against Pujols? Just foul. We're hoping that the way it was hit so hard they would stay fair down that line.
Hold foul. 1-2 now. Leaving up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Texas with a run in the first, 3 in the second. Two now for Martinez. A breaking ball in the dirt. See if he goes with that breaking ball again. If he tries to sneak a fastball in.
Well, he threw a 3-0 breaking ball to me, so you would assume he's going to throw something all speed here also. He's going to come in with a fastball.
That is ball 4. So second walk picked up by Albert. Third one issued by Martinez.
When you miss that far off the plate with a fastball 3-2, you just don't want to make a mistake. And if you're trying that far off inside with a fastball, you're better off not even throwing that pitch.
Don't want to make a mistake, and you'd rather, even though you're up by 4 runs, take your chance on a guy right now that is yet to get the bat going, and Matt Joyce. lined out to the shortstop Andrews his first time up. This one pulled foul. Matt out in front.
Alfredo had to move out of the way of that one also. Ranger dugout giving him some grief.
Some incredible stretching that Griffin does to coach first base. It's all that yoga.
Oh, yeah.
No balls, 2 strikes. Popped him up. Beltre calling for this one. Gives way to Andrews. Makes the catch for the second out. So 2 outs. Albert at first. Gives David Freese. Freese got jammed his first time up and rolled one over to Fielder. He's 0 for 1. Some rolled foul. Sarcino with a little bit of a leg kick himself.
It's quicker this year.
Is it?
Yeah. Always feeling good. Good shape.
No runs, 3 hits, 4 left on for the Angels. Got a bases loaded situation in the second with 1 out. Ibar grounded into the inning ending double play. One pitch. Freeze. This one in the air. Shallow right field. Shin-Soo-Choo is there. Halos are down here in the third. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. The Angels down 4-0. Before heading down to Houston, have an off day on Thursday. 3-game set over the weekend, and the homestand kicks off on Monday the 20th. The Angels looking for that first home victory of the year. 4 against Oakland and 3 against these Rangers. Texas up 4-0 here in the bottom of the third. Fielder, Chu, and Andrews for Drew Rucinski. Fielder skies one down the left field line. Long run for both Andrews, or pardon me, for Ibar and Joyce, and no one can get this one. Joyce went to a slide, almost takes out Ibar.
Ibar, when you look how far he went. Mentioned before, he's one of the best as far as going back on a pop-up. The slide, though, a dangerous slide. And Matt Joyce, when Ibar's in that position, trying to catch the ball, can't see where Joyce is coming from. That slide in there, dangerous play.
This is a base hit up the middle. Leadoff single. They're 1 for 2 as he popped down in foul territory to end the first. Chew a ground out his first time up, takes downstairs. Ball and a strike on the Rangers right fielder. He reaches for this one and flares it out to right. Fielder will turn and head to third. Trying to go to second is Chew, and the throw is easily in time. Colin Cowgill guns down Chew, 1 down.
Boy, Cowgill, what a perfect throw. That's a big out. Boy, right on the line, a perfect throw. Got around the baseball to get in good throwing position, and a strike, one hop strike to second. Easily getting Chew at second. Not by quite a bit. It's all about getting that throwing position by Cowgill. Got around the baseball, momentum going towards the base. Perfect throw.
Alvarez back up and loosening for the Halos. Andrews swinging first pitch, fouls it off. 6 hits for Texas. 2 and a third. Andrews has one of those hits. It's an infield single. Stole a base, scored a run the second. On the corner, 1-2.
That's where you want to throw Andrews quite a bit. His fastballs break the balls away to keep it down. And Cowgill come in a step or two in right field.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. This is pulled to short. Nice play by Ibar to the backhand. 2 down.
And also, when you think about infield in, so you have less time to react on a baseball hit that hard, but a great play by Ibar. Playing in. Able to play a little bit further back with fielder running, but still well-struck baseball by Andrews with Ibar in an excellent play.
Carlos Peguero hit a fly ball to center field his first time up, so he's 0 for 1. Fielder standing over at third base. Time is called. Next pitch for Drew will be his 74th of the night. One and one. Much different Drew Rosinski tonight than what we have seen previously. Just has not been able to harness it in as far as the command of the strike zone.
Yeah, that front shoulder causes the adrenaline going, flying open. More difficult for him to be consistent.
Put these Rangers hitters in some pretty good counts. But that being said, if you go back to the second inning, if there's no miscommunication, or at least that hesitation by Trout because Joyce continued to run toward him in left center field, ball's caught. It's a 1-0 game. Missed it. 3 balls and a strike.
Front shoulder, so quick on his delivery, flies high with the shoulder and then flies open more so.
Fourth walk issued by Rosinski with 2 outs, and that's going to be it for Drew in his first major league start. Not what he wanted to happen, that's for sure. He'll depart with 2 outs here in the 3rd inning, and with property at first and third. Pitching change in the 3rd. Texas leads at 4-0.
Warner Cable. Enjoy better. Call 1-855-WANT-TWC. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers.
Texas on top here, 4-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Still plenty of baseball to be played here in the Lone Star State. And with the left-handed batter, Leonis Martin coming to the plate, and having seen Rosinski struggle with his command, Mike Scioscia makes a change. It's in and out. Who's in, who's out. Rosinski is down on the bench. Jose Alvarez on the mound. Through 77 pitches in 2 2/3. Martin drew a walk and scored a run in the 2nd. Fielder, the base runner at 3rd base, and Peguero over at 1st. First one is in there for a strike. Jose Alvarez, his 4th appearance of the season, 2 innings under his belt, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. He's hit 2 batters. Swing and a miss, slow breaking ball.
Yeah, great speed, especially after the first pitch. High fastball, top part of the strike zone, followed up with a 71-mile-an-hour breaking pitch.
Way outside, just off the glove, thankfully. Iannetta kept the ball near the plate. Peguero advances on the wild pitch. You wonder with 2 outs here, the fielder takes a shot if that ball gets by Chris.
Just off the bottom part of the glove.
It's a 3rd wild pitch tonight. Rosinski had 2 of them. Now runners at second and third.
It didn't look like Chris Iannetta was done putting down the signs when Alvarez went into stretch and tried to throw the baseball.
Here's the 1-2. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Martini doesn't like the call, but the inning comes to an end. 3 in the books here in Arlington. Texas leads at 4-0. Johnny Football in the house. Johnny Manziel, Texas native, Texas A&M, now Cleveland Brown.
Heisman Trophy winner back in 2012. We had a conversation with Mike Butcher and Drew Lucinski. Just overthrowing some pitches, flying that front shoulder, not as consistent as we saw. 4 walks. Didn't see that at all in spring training. It was consistently in the strike zone.
C.J. Cron looks at a breaking ball downstairs for ball 1. Cron, 9 Ed and Cowgill for the Halos here in the 4th. Well, 0 for 1. He struck down in the second. Skies this one in the air. Shallow right. Door going out. Chu coming in. The right fielder calls off the second baseman. 1 down. The Angels hitters last inning plus unable to lay off that high fastball. Giving a lot of pop-ups. Three pop-ups in the third inning. 2 in the infield. And 1 out to right, and now out to right field to start the 4th. Iannetta with a walk in the second. And 3 issued by Martinez, along with 1 strikeout. This one's pulled to left, a base hit. So Chris picks up his second hit of the season. And Wells struck out to left field. Bring up Cowgill. Hey folks, this season the Angels want to give fans exclusive experiences at Angels Stadium. All Access Angels gives fans a chance to bid on great experiences like Steel Third, honorary back kit, and dining with the general manager. For more info and to bid on these experiences, visit angels.com/access. I still say, how there's not a dining with Gooby.
Oh yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
In of itself is an experience. Cowgill takes inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah.
Especially when you order the Chris Myers special, the boneless buffalo shrimp.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
Especially here in Texas.
Yes.
Legendary Chris Myers.
Oh yes. Fox Sports 1 whip around.
Two balls, no strikes on Cowgill, who doubled into the left field corner in the second. That was the inning in which the Angels loaded him up with one out, but never anything across. This one out to center, and it's playable for Martin. 2 outs, and headed back to first. Johnny Giavotella hit by a pitch in the second. No official at bat for him.
But you just still feel that Martinez at some point going to make a couple mistakes. Fly balls this inning just miss hitting those out.
The Angels had 2 hits in the first inning, 1 in the second. Number back to the mound, and the Angels will be done here in the 4th. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. Still 4-0 Rangers.
Cars that deliver inspired performance.
Bottom of the 4th in Texas. 9-1-2 coming up for the Rangers with the Halos down 4-0. Jose Alvarez, who came in and struck out Martin to finish off the 3rd. Back out on the bump. He'll have to, I would imagine, soak up a couple of innings. Chirinos, Odor, and Moreland coming up for Texas. Day game tomorrow, and then Angels will have the off day on Thursday. So as long as it doesn't get out of hand as far as relievers, should be fine. Chirinos hit that fly ball out to left center field that should have been the second out of the inning, but Trout, who was calling for the baseball, Kind of pulled back a little bit as Joyce continued to run after the ball. And because of that, ball went off the glove and it went for a 2 RBI double that made a 1-0 Texas lead, 3-0 at that time, and then they chipped in another run after that. Grounder back to the mound. Alvarez has it. 1 down.
And now it's time for Tools of the Trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. One of those tools you need as an outfitter is the communication skill. Mike Trout trying to run it down, but Matt Joyce in the way. Clearly Mike Trout calling it off. You can see him there. He's calling the baseball, but Matt Joyce still close enough to distract Mike Trout, unable to make the play. Ends up resulting in 3 runs in that inning for Texas.
Rougned Odor has been on board twice. A walk and stolen base. Run score the first. Doubled home a run in the second. He'll look at his strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball from Alvarez. 2 outs. Ducks fans coverage, I should say, of the first NHL playoff game between the Ducks and the Jets will begin Thursday at 7 p.m. with Ducks Live pregame show on Prime Ticket. Puck drops at 7:30. And after the game, stay tuned to Prime Ticket for the premiere of Before the Bigs. Ryan Getzlaff.
Boy, that's going to be a good series. Winnipeg with some serious size. Blake Wheeler, Dustin Byfuglien, both at 6'5". Andrew Ladd 6'3". It's a tough club. Winnipeg sold out their first game of that playoffs when the Ducks go up to Winnipeg, game 3, in like 5 minutes. It'll be a great series.
One ball, 2 strikes. Moreland with an RBI single and a walk. First time tonight that the Rangers had the first 2 batters retired to start an inning. Fastball. Well, that's been a strike all day. Misses outside. 2-2 now.
It's worth that shot to go outside corner, off the corner. It's been called quite a bit at 90.
There's a called strike 3. Down goes Moreland. That one was more of a strike than the previous one. Moreland doesn't like the call. A 1-2-3-4 as we head to the 5th. Halo's still down. Live look-ins, replay reviews, and much more. Get MLB.com app for your smartphone or tablet today. Top of the order for the Halos as Ibar takes outside. Eric Ibar, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols to face Nick Martinez, who has 1 strikeout, 3 walks, 1 hit batter, 4 hits allowed.
I like the thought process from Ibar to bunt, but he's trying to push the bunt down to third base. I would challenge Prince Fielder at first.
Pulls the high fastball to second. An easy play for Odor, 1 away. Eric is yet to get into a groove with his own personal strike zone.
Career high as far as RBI last season. Big part of that successful 98 win season last year with his bat.
Trout takes a slow curveball downstairs. He hits this one out to left field. Peguero moving back on it. Has a beat. Makes the catch shy of the track. And there's the second out of the inning. Again, that pitch again. You talked about it when we first started this ball game about getting Martinez down in the zone. Don't chase that high pitch. And that ball, even though Mike turned on it, up enough and in enough to where he couldn't get the full barrel on the baseball.
Yeah, he will throw a number of fastballs around belt high. They become extremely hittable, but when it's up a little higher than that, he can still jam you. It looks inviting as a hitter. A lot of lazy fly ball outs with that pitch.
Albert has walked twice tonight. Pretty good pitch to hack at right there. One ball, 1 strike.
That is Albert's zone. High changeup. I didn't get that baseball back a lot.
No,
No.
the high changeup.
No.
That was an issue.
I was
for
just
you.
looking to see how far it would go at that point.
Albert, that's jammed there. He fights it foul. The count remains at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I didn't even give the courtesy look how far it was going to go either. I just waited for the baseball to be thrown back by the home plate umpire.
Glove up.
Yep.
This one lifted out to center, not very deep. So Martin comes in, and Martinez has himself a 1-2-3 fifth. Led to the bottom of the inning, still 4-0 Rangers. be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Angels. 3-4-5 for Texas. Alvarez delivers the first pitch outside. He retired the side in order. He's retired all 4 batters he's faced so far. Adrian Beltre tonight 0 for 2 so far. Off speed pitch for a strike. Double play ball in the first inning and a ground ball to Freeze in the second. Future Hall of Famer.
Definitely. Great bat, clutch hitter, unbelievable fielder at third.
Breaking ball bounced foul. 1-2.
Getting up on that list as far as most games at third base. Brooks Robinson, Craig Nettles, both very good with the glove also.
Sky to center field. Not very deep, so Trout has come racing in. 1 out.
First baseman, Prince Fielder.
Brings up Fielder. A little better crowd here tonight. Last night, it's just over 18,000. And a day game tomorrow. Midweek day game. Fielder lofts one foul and out of play. You see those midweek day games often. Should be the norm as far as getaway days.
Always.
It's one of the things the union teams always talk about every year in spring training, and the travel for a lot of teams, especially teams on the coast having to go across the way. Jason, breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
What we've seen from Fielder, especially in this game alone, everything away, he'll hit a fly ball or pop up to left field, even shallow left field. Inside part of the plate, he hits it well. Stay away.
Cued off the end of the bat.
There was a time where he had great power to left center field. It looks like he's in the mode now where anything in the inner half, that's what he's trying to turn on.
Yeah, the home run he hit in the All-Star game off C.J. Wilson, I think that was in Arizona, was out to left center field. This guy's this one to right. Was that 2010? Does that sound right? Because St. Louis, that was St. Louis and Texas in the World Series that gave the Cardinals the home field advantage.
Exactly. So San Francisco won in 10, so it was probably 2011 also. Well, every other year for the San Francisco Giants on their home opener, they brought out their 3 World Series trophies yesterday.
Yeah, 2011, you're right. That was in the 4th inning. Chu pulls this one. Pujols has it, waves off Alvarez, who has faced 7, and he's retired all 7. 5 in the books. Halos trying to get that offense started, down 4-0.
2015 Subaru Forester or go to Subaru.com to learn more.
4-0 Texas, top of the 6th inning. Halos trying to figure out Nick Martinez, who retired the side in order for the first time in the 5th inning. And that was the top of the order. Here in the 6th, he'll face Joyce, Freese, and Crone. Matt Joyce 0 for 2. Line out to Andrews and a pop-up to Andrews on the infield.
Right now the report against Matt Joyce is going to be off speed and fastballs away.
Gets jammed and pops it to short. 1 down. 6 in a row retired Martinez, I should say, since the Ionetta single in the 4th.
And going upstairs with that fastball, but above the belt. We said he's going to try to do as a hitter, you try to bring that down, and it becomes very hittable. But chasing upstairs, you're going to pop it up.
Yeah, well, the offense let Martinez off the hook in the first 2 innings. First inning, runners at first and second, 1 out. Joyce and Freese went down quietly, and then the second inning, the bases loaded 1-out situation, and Ibar inning-ending double play.
Now he's pitching with confidence. Got some run support.
Freese pulls it to short. Andrews retires the Angel third baseman for the second out here in the 6th. David 0 for 3.
Designated hitter C.J. Crum.
Crone pops it up on the right side. It's Odor, the second baseman, calling for it. Andrews cuts in front of him, makes the catch, and the Angels again go down in order. Head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Texas still on top. Receive an Angels MVP blanket courtesy of Yokohama Tire while supplies last. Purchase your tickets today by visiting the Angel Stadium ticket office. Andrews, Peguero, and Martin, 6, 7, and 8 for Texas here in the 6th.
Alvarez with a lot of strikes, 27 pitches thrown, 20 strikes.
This one in the air to left field. Went down and in, got it. This one is gone. A home run for Elvis Andrus. And it is 5-0 Texas.
Boy, how often have we said anything on the inner half? That's the pitch he can drive. Got really good career numbers against the Angels. And that breaking ball down and in. Off that inside corner down, no doubter. 4th career home run against the Angels, coming in hitting .312 career-wise with a lot of at-bats. Over 400.
Well, he had all of 2 home runs last season. He's halfway there in his first of the year. Garrett looks at a strike. First batter to reach against Alvarez. Retired the first 7. Came in with 2 outs in the 3rd. Drew Rosinski got his first major league start tonight. Did not fare well. Command and issue. 4 walks, 6 hits allowed, and 2 2/3. They had 4 runs all earned. Why is there? I don't understand the warning here from Lance Barrett. I mean, that's somewhat ridiculous. With 2 strikes, he's not trying to hit him.
That didn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, overreact much?
On the tricep area, up and in, 0-2 count. Maybe first pitch of the at-bat, maybe even then.
That's terrible. Here's Leonis Martin. Nobody out here in the 6th. Soft liner, and that'll go into left field, a base hit. So first 3 now have reached against Alvarez in the 6th inning. Home run, hit by a pitch and a single.
Actually in the bullpen now for the Angels. The team went down and got that pitch from Alvarez. McMorrin warming up.
It'll be Robinson Chirinos coming up. This will give Morin an opportunity to get loose. Alvarez with 33 pitches, 25 strikes. And just acquiring the diminutive left-hander from the Tigers in spring training last year in exchange for shortstop Andrew Romine. Elbow issue last year, limiting his appearances. Peguero at second base, and it's Martin at first. Good off-speed pitch. Oh, 1 pitch. Chirinos fouls it off. Torino's with a double. Brought in 2 runs in the second. As that ball went off the glove of Trout.
Really the play of the game.
Yep.
It's all in that changeup that time around. If you're throwing a changeup, you'll make sure you have it down around the dirt. If he makes contact at all, it's going to be a ground ball. Good chance that's going to go to an infielder.
Sorry, Mark. What a difference it makes too for a hitter on a changeup that doesn't have that sinking action or diving action that just kind of hovers, thigh high, knee high. And Chirinos gets into one out to left center field. Towering shot. Trout at the wall. That is gone. A 3-run blast by Robinson Chirino opens this one up. 8-0 Texas. The double that he was credited with in the second inning, his first extra base hit of the season, his first RBIs, and he chips in another extra base hit, and 3 more runs batted in.
Pitch right down the heart of the plate with a fastball. Will hit a 3-run home run. Texas coming in this game just 4 home runs as a team, a couple here tonight.
Pitching change in the 6th inning with nobody out. Texas on top, 8-0. Nobody out. Jose Alvarez, who cruised through his 2 1/3 inning prior to the 6th inning. Gave up 4 runs, did not retire a batter in the 6th. So Bourne comes in to help stop the bleeding. Top of the order, and Rougned Odor. Odor with a walk, a double, a strikeout. It's 1 for 2. RBI and a run scored for the second baseman. Alvarez ends up going 2 1/3, 3 hits, 2 of which were home runs, 3 strikeouts, 4 runs all earned.
Yeah, it was on a roll, and a couple of mistakes, especially that slow down and in break ball to Elvis Andrus to hit out.
Foul back. Odor looks one out to center. Trout is there. First out of 6th inning in the books. That'll bring up Mitch Moreland. Mike Moore, by the way, pitching in his 4th game this year. 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout so far. Moreland the 1-for-2 game with a walk. Picked up an RBI. Elvis Andrews and Robinson Chirinos. Unlikeliest of pairs to homer in this 6th inning.
Usually you try to keep them in the yard. Not a lot of home run power. So far in the news for Garrett Richards, throwing the ball extremely well. He's faced 6 batters, all 6 he's gotten out, including 3 strikeouts.
Possibility that Garrett could be a one and done at AAA. Could be making a start Sunday in Houston. Nothing confirmed as of yet. Down goes Moreland for round number 2.
That AAA team we're playing, it's the Astros affiliate. Struck out Singleton, John Singleton, big league hitter. Hose struck him out. He told me the other day he feels exceptional because of the injury he had. He really refined his mechanics, and he feels great with every one of his pitches.
Beltre up. He'll look at a strike. And Mike Scioscia pointed it out yesterday. I think he was talking to the media about Richards. And, he's got to get through that last hurdle, but also you don't want to get to a point where you're wasting those bullets down there. And I know to your point, you've said it a number of times. If the guy is ready and he's healthy and he feels 100%, something bad could happen just as easily in a rehab start as it could on a major league mound.
Exactly. Especially you can tell when someone's ready. Just a conversation with them.
Good ground ball to second. So Moore comes in and calms things down. We'll head to the 7th. 8-0 Texas.
Martinez has thrown the ball very well early on, some chances. 7 scoreless innings his first start of the season. That was on the road against Oakland. 6 scoreless innings so far here with 3 walks and 1 strikeout.
Bottom third of the order for the Halos here in the 7th inning. Martinez has retired 13 of the last 15 batters he has faced. Those two guys had a walk and a single. Pujols and Diana. Chris fouls it back. Chris 1 for 1 with that base into the 4th inning. Drew a walk, his 2nd of the year in the 2nd.
Stay back a little bit better on that changeup. Maybe starting to see the baseball better.
'86 pitches thrown by Martinez. 53 have been strikes. Chris chopping this one toward the middle. Andrews was playing Iannetta to pull, unable to get to it. So Chris has a multi-hit game for the first time this year. Brings up Colin Cowgill.
And the Hyundai key coming this game. Keep on swinging. Some good at bats last night. Early on, some chances. 3 hits in the first couple of innings, but didn't get that key hit when needed to against Nick Martinez. He gets the lead and then gets in that comfort zone and starts making some quality pitches, slowing down that hot swinging bats that we saw last night.
Cowgill doubled in the 2nd, a fly ball to center in the 4th inning. That's 1 for 2. Chopper to 3rd. Beltre plays the short hop, fires low, and Odor can't handle it. An error by Beltre. And Iannetta will advance to 3rd.
See that too often from Beltre. Usually pretty solid on that 5-4-3 double play. Low throw. Odor unable to pick it. Ends up going in the outfield for an error now on Adrian Beltre.
First error of the season for Beltre.
From the get-go, didn't look real comfortable on that baseball.
Kind of that tough decision for an infielder to lay back on the big hop or play the short hop. So 2 on and nobody out. Here's Johnny Giavitello. And he drives one out toward left center field. That ball's hit well. Peguero giving chase, and he will track it down. Iannetta will come in to score. Cowgill to 2nd, and Giavitello picks up his first RBI of the season on the sac fly, making it 8-1 Texas.
It's good to see Iannetta score a run, a couple hits, a walk. Giavitello almost got that one out. Deep part of the field there. 390 sign in left center field.
Now we'll start some action in the Rangers bullpen. Derek Ibar steps in. Eric's had a 1 for 3 game. Led off the ball game with a base hit in right field. And tried to stretch it into a double. Was thrown out.
It's the first run that Martinez has allowed this year in 2 starts.
He's human. Mere mortal.
At this point, it's not earned yet either.
Klein up for Texas. Fernando Salas getting ready for the Angels. Ibar pops it up on the third base side into foul territory. Beltre on the track. 2 down.
Merck chasing some high pitches. He's trying to get his swing going.
Trout tonight 1 for 3. Picked up his second double. And was back in the first inning. Cowgill over at second base. First one's upstairs.
See, as a hitter, you just try to lay off that high fastball, bring the fastball down, and that's when you can get a good part of the bat on it. Close to his last batter potentially if Mike Trout gets on base, either a base hit or a walk.
Trout fouling this one back. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. The Angels have 5 hits tonight. Texas with 9. Halos tonight 0 for 4 with men in scoring position. That is skied out toward left field. Peguero and Martin giving chase at the wall. Peguero makes the catch. Got to the wall in time and got that glove up there. And it's the 3rd out here in the 7th. The Angels do get a run, but still trailing 8-1. Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Game 2. Halos took the opener yesterday 6-3 and trailed this one 8-1 in the 7th. Fernando Salas has handed the ball after Mike Morin retired the 3 batters he faced in the 6th inning. Salas to face Fielder, Chu, and Andrews here in the Rangers half of the 7th. Fernando pitching in his 4th game, and so far slow start to the season. 2 2/3 innings, 3 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk.
Yeah, fastball velocity and location with that pitch has been an issue for Fernando so far in this season. Last year, remember watching him throw a lot of times 90, 92, 94. He's been settling in so far this year, 87, 88. A lot of differential between his fastball and off-speed pitches.
Off speed, the fielder in there for a strike. Prince back at first base tonight, 1 for 3, singled in the third. Fielder fouls one back. A couple of changes for the Angels. Defensively, Drew Butera takes over at first base for Albert Pujols. Looks like Taylor Featherston has taken over at shortstop for Eric Ibar. Cowgill in left field. Efren Navarro in right. Fielder a little tap or foul. So Trout, Ibar, Pujols all out of the game now. Two balls, two strikes. Big game tomorrow. Hector Santiago on the mound, trying to bounce back from a tough first outing.
He made some quality pitches, but a couple times just a little quick, cut across his body on some pitches.
This one pulled and it sneaks through into right field. A base hit. Drew Butera thought about going after it, instead headed back toward first base.
Fastball inside. We've said that Prince Fielder looks like he's had a tough time squaring up anything away. He's still quick inside. He's still looking to try to turn, especially when the baseball generally would carry the right center field here.
Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, now up. He cuts through the fastball. Got an update for you on Garrett Richards at AAA against Fresno. After a 1-2-3 first and second innings, including 3 strikeouts, Richard not as sharp in the third inning. Allowed 3 runs on 3 hits with 1 strikeout and a walk. He's thrown 40 pitches through 3. 27 for strikes. That's a called strike. 3 down goes Choo, and according to the radar gun there in Fresno, his velocity at 91 to 94 in the third inning after 94, 96 the first 2. Most important aspect of it all is that everything comes out fine. He's healthy, gets his pitches in, and calls it a night.
He's still building up the arm strength.
Andrews looks at a strike. Out to right. Navarro back on it is there. 2 outs.
And fastball away, you're going to get those fly balls. Inside, can drive it.
So fielder at first base with 2 down, and it is Carlos Peguero coming up. Left fielder. 0 for 1. Goodbye pitch. His last plate appearance. That was in the 6th inning. Both benches warned after that. It was on a 2-strike pitch. I want to say it was a 1-2 count.
Yeah.
Alvarez trying to just pitch inside, got him on the elbow, and Lance Barrett deciding to warn both benches.
Well, the thing is, now as a hitter, you're just looking out over the plate at this point because you've taken away that threat of an inside fastball off the plate.
And it's still, at that point, a hitter could be hit by a pitch and nothing happened to him. It's at the determination of the umpire as to whether there was intent to go after another hitter. At which point, if the umpire says that there was, then it's not only the pitcher, the manager gets ejected immediately after the warnings. Guerrero lifts it foul.
And it's generally a 1-game suspension, too, for the manager.
Guys down at the dugout certainly couldn't believe it.
They were stunned by it.
Count remains at no balls and 2 strikes. Joyce, Freese, and Cron for the Halos in the 8th. May have seen the last of Nick Martinez as action continues in the Rangers' pen. Here's the 1-2. Figueroa pulls one down the right field line, and that is fair. Into the corner. Played perfectly by Navarro on the ricochet. Fielder ends up at third. It's a double for Figueroa.
Fastball for Fernando Salas. Again, this 87-88 on his fastball allows the hitter to get their arms extended. Try to go inside, but he was on that fastball inside. Not quite the velocity we saw last year early on for Fernando Salas. Played well, though, by Navarro. Well, Effort's done a great job playing in the outfield. He's a first baseman, a very good fielding first baseman. Good solid at left and in right field.
Leonis Martinez, center fielder, a 1-for-2 game. Takes inside. Nothing easy for Fernando Salas yet again. 11 hits now for Texas. Pitch down and in.
Great location. Sharp break. Under the hands. And Martin.
Popped up left side. Featherston makes the grab, hitting over. 7 complete. Texas on top, 8-1. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast, free quote and see how much you can save. And by Hyundai. Great deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. All Rangers tonight, at least through the first 7 innings. They lead at 8-1 as we start the top of the 8th here at Globe Life Park. First of 3 visits for the Angels here to Arlington. Phil Klein takes over on the mound, pitching in his 6th game already. And he will take over for Nick Martinez. And face Navarro, who's batting in Pujols' spot, and Joyce and Freeze. 5 games, 3 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs allowed by Klein.
And Klein fastball, 90, 94, slider, cut fastball, changeup.
Klein, a rookie this year, Rangers minor league reliever of the year in 2014. Efrain Navarro, 2 for 6 so far this year. Nick Martinez, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 strikeout, 3 walks, 1 run allowed. No balls, 2 strikes. Klein 6'7", 260. 30th round pick in 2011. Down and in, 1-2. At a Youngstown State University. Columbus, Ohio native. Navarro loops one in the air. Past Beltre. That is a fair ball. Just inside the chalk. Navarro will stay right there. It's a leadoff single.
Well, that's a well-placed sandwich by Navarro right down the line. Change up. He's making contact. Well placed. Right inside the line.
Brings up Joyce. Left fielder 0 for 3. All 3 have been hit to Elvis Andrus. A line out in the first and 2 pop-ups. Matt will take downstairs. Klein at Double-A last year, 10 saves, and got called up to AAA, pitching 9 games, right to the big leagues.
A lot of pitchers used last year by Texas.
Yep.
A lot of players in general used by Texas last year.
Yeah, they're on their way again this year. Other things have started off. Ryan Ruo's on the DL. Derek Holland on the 60-day DL. Mentioned earlier in the broadcast, 7 players already on the 60-day disabled list for the Texas Rangers.
When you put a player on the 60-day disabled list, it creates a roster spot for you.
Two to Joyce. Gets away from Chirino, so Efren will take the extra base. Wild pitch. David Freese on deck. Stick around after the last down. Angels live post game. Presented by your SoCal Mazda dealers. Alex Curry and Jose Mota will break it down for you. This reaction from the clubhouse. Drew Rucinski made his first major league start tonight. Gave up 4 runs in 2 2/3, 6 hits, 4 walks for Drew. And he's looped out towards center field. Martinez not going to get there. And it'll fall in for a base hit. So the Angels have their first 2 base runners on to start this 8th inning.
Flair in the outfield for Joyce.
David Freese hearing a chorus of boos. The World Series hero.
They still remember.
Yeah. Be somewhat of a moot point if Nelson Cruz catches a ball out in right field.
Especially when the sign was "Don't let anything over your head."
Yeah.
The coaching staff.
I'm just saying. Freese fouls it off to the right. Would have been the first World Championship in Rangers history. It was not to be.
MVP that World Series.
Pujols had a huge game here. 3-homer game.
That was a great series.
This one fouled off to the right. It's no balls, 2 strikes. David's 0 for 3. 2 ground outs and a fly ball. The bar over at third base. Joyce at first. David went around, 1 away.
Hard slider off the plate.
C.J. Cron will step in now. Cron 0 for 3. It's a DH tonight. Good swing there, fouls it back.
They would love to get that first RBI of the season.
One run, 7 hits, 7 left on for the Halos. 8 runs, 11 hits, 6 left on for Texas. Good swing again. Both pitches too on the inside part of the plate. No 2 count.
Shook off a fastball in, going with a slider instead.
So it got Freese. Crow bounces one back to the mound. Klein goes to second for 1 to relay back to first. In time, a double play. Second one turned by the Texas Rangers tonight. The Angels are done here in the 8th. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. Halos down 8-1. Although Socha now is going to come out and maybe he's going to have that play first base looked at.
We're going to check out this play. A certain amount of time before you make that decision to check it.
So they are going to look at this replay here. Dan Iasonia is the acting crew chief tonight. CB Buckner coming over.
Yeah, that foot's on the base. Yeah, he's safe.
That would bring in a run to make it 8-2. Keep the inning alive.
Get that first RBI, hustling down the line. Yeah, definitely. His foot's on the base as the baseball is going in the glove. This inning is going to continue.
And if it does get overruled, as we think it should, really that hesitation by Klein, he looked Navarro back initially instead of just feeling the baseball and firing it to second base.
Yeah, at this point in the game when you have a lead like that, just turn right around and throw it right to the base. Now if it's a one-run game, yes, you look them back.
We're waiting to hear on the headsets down below. The umpires talking to New York.
It sure looks like the foot is on the base as the ball is going in the glove and being secured by Prince Fielder.
So Crone will reach on that fielder's choice, picks up the RBIs first of the season. 2 outs now here in the 8th. 8-2 Texas. And Chris Iannetta will bat.
Oh, but that's good hustle though by C.J. Crone. Sometimes you get frustrated. And he went down there as fast as he could, ends up getting an RBI out of it. Players who were in the dugout right back out to the field.
Here's Iannetta. 2-hit game for him tonight. 2 singles, a walk, and a run scored. Vinny Pistano getting ready. He'll pitch the bottom of the 8th. And to Salas at the 7th. Oh, 2 count on Iannetta. Thrown over at first. Down and away. Wyszynski went 2 2/3. Alvarez 2 1/3. Morin and Salas 1 inning apiece. Vinny in the 8th will face 9-1-2. Chirinos, Odor, and Moreland. And off the mask of Chirinos and back over the screen. Second time tonight that Chirinos has taken one off the mask. Chirinos has had a huge game offensively. 5 RBIs. A double and a home run. 7 of the 8 runs scored by the last 4 guys in the order. Iannetta lines with the second. That'll do it. The Angels are done. They do get a run in the 8th. Well, to the bottom of the inning. It's 8-2 Texas.
And now it's time for In the Driver's Seat, brought to you by Kia. Robinson Chirinos has had a huge game, solid behind the plate, but with the bat tonight, 2 for 3, 2-run double and a 3-run home run, 5 RBI, had 0 RBI coming in to this game tonight, career high as far as RBI in a game. Also very solid working with Nick Martinez to have him pitch a solid game.
Vinny Pestano takes over on the mound here in the 8th inning for the Angels. Vinny pitching his 3rd game this year, 2 2/3 innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Done a nice job. Robinson Chirinos, a double and a home run, 5 RBIs tonight.
Garrett Richards is going through 4 innings right now, 4 hits allowed, 3 runs, a couple walks, 5 punch outs. 59 pitches, 38 of them strikes.
0-2 count on Chirinos. Wanted to. Brugnet Odor, the second baseman, on deck. They wanted to peel at first, and he did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hector Santiago on the mound tomorrow, going up against Anthony Ronaldo, spot starter for Texas.
Former Red Sox. 6'7".
105 start here. Chirinos goes down swinging for the first out. Comes Brugnet Odor, the second baseman. Odor tonight 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. First one down and away. Vinny just dropped down a little bit more so than normal. A's leading the Astros down in Houston 3-0. That game's in the 9th. Tying them up nicely. 1-1 now. Mariners leading the Dodgers 3-0 at Dodger Stadium. That game's in the 3rd. 1-2.
Yeah, Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz went back to back. Nelson Cruz likes hitting in Dodger Stadium. This is his 3rd home run of the series.
Yep. Tigers beat the Pirates 2-0. Tigers are 7-1. Orioles beat the Yankees 4-3. Rays over the Jays 3-2. White Sox beat the Indians 4-1. The red hot Kansas City Royals idle.
Yeah, Carrasco got hit with a line drive back up the middle for Cleveland on the mound today. Hopefully everything's okay with him.
Lifted in the air, left side of the infield. Taylor Featherston makes the one-handed grab. 2 outs. Here it is 8-2 Texas. Mitch Moreland is introduced. The DH, a 1-for-3 game for him. Every starter with a hit tonight for Texas, with the exception being Adrian Beltre, who's on deck. Halos in the ninth inning have Cowgill, Giavotella, and Featherston coming up. Way inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Beltre, 0-for-4 game for him with 3 ground outs and a fly ball to center. Three and 1. "15 pitches thrown by Vinny. 8 strikes, 7 balls. Got the first 2 batters out here to start the 8th. Orland pulls this one foul. Full count. It's a fantastic collection of beer bottles on that dugout by spectators. There it is. And that is a walk. 2 outs here in the 8th. First one to Beltre. Out toward right center field. Cowgill moving to his left. And he calls off Navarro at the last second. Thankfully. Well, ahead of the ninth, 8-2. Texas on top. Hey, folks, MLB's Franchise 4 campaign allows fans to vote for the Mount Rushmore of each Major League franchise. Through Friday, May 8th, fans can visit MLB.com/franchise4 to select the 4 most impactful players who best represent the history of each franchise out of the 8 choices from its lineage. The winners of the month-long period of fan voting on MLB.com/franchise4 will be announced during a pregame ceremony before baseball's 86th All-Star Game, Tuesday, July 14th at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati on Fox. Good thing that was a short read. As Colin Cowgill leads things off. Facing Keona Kela, Hawaiian native. Takes over for Klein, who went 1 inning, gave up a run on 2 hits. 5th game of the season. 4 innings, 1 earned run. Born in LA. 22 years of age. This one hit sharply but played nicely by Andrews. A little bit of a bobble there. Low throw and dug out at first by Adam Rosales. 1 down.
That baseball was scalded. The low throw, Rosales able to pick it up. Knocks it down. He's got a strong throwing arm, but a low throw, and Rosales coming in the game, be able to scoop it. And Kela's got a good fastball. It's 91, 94, maybe even get to 96. Slider and a good changeup.
Johnny Giavotella takes ball 1, hit by a pitch into second, a bouncer to the mound in the 4th, and a sac fly, picking up his first RBI as an Angel. Puts him at 0 for 1 on the evening. Taylor Featherston on deck. This is Sky down towards shallow center. How many times have we said that tonight?
Yeah, jammed. Fastballs up and in, off the plate.
Shortstop Taylor Featherston.
They'll bring up Featherston with 2 outs here in the 9th inning. First plate appearance for him as he took over defensively at shortstop in the 7th inning. His major league debut on Sunday, still looking for that first big league hit.
Well, he'd love to get that base hit, keep that baseball, and bring it home. He's going home tomorrow night in Houston. Had a lot of family and friends come to the game on Friday.
Went to school just down the highway here, TCU. This one out to right. Peguero is there, makes the catch, and the Texas Rangers take the 2nd game of the 3-game set